Blue is the rarest color in nature, and it's also one of the most beautiful. So today, let's count down the top 6 bluest reptiles in the world. What's up everyone? I wanted to quickly mention that this list is in no particular order, but I definitely did save my favorite and the most beautiful lizard in the world for the very end. So make sure to stay tuned for that one because you're not going to want to miss it. Also, if this video does well, I plan on making videos like this for the other colors out there. So if you do enjoy this kind of video, make sure to hit that like button. It lets me know that you guys are interested in it and that I should make videos like this in the future. Lastly, if you're new here, I have a ton of great ideas for 2023 that I don't think you guys are going to want to miss. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of that. But with that out of the way, guys, let's get straight into the video. Number 6, Barron's racers. These guys are endemic to South America. You can find them throughout Argentina, Bolivia, and Paraguay. They are typically green in color, but on rare occasion, you will find these blue-colored individuals. Barron's racers also have upturned snouts, so it almost looks as if they have a horn poking out of them, which is pretty cool. These are medium-sized snakes, usually ranging between 4 to 6 feet, with the females being a little bit bigger. They are most active during the day, and they are arboreal, meaning that they spend a lot of time up in the trees. These guys are not picky eaters at all. In the wild, you will see them eating things like rodents, lizards, frogs, and being that they're up in the trees, of course, they eat lots of birds as well. They actually make pretty damn good pets as well, but finding a captive bred individual can prove to be a bit of a challenge. Their care is pretty straightforward. You'll need an enclosure that is both tall and wide. You need to provide them some heat, some water, some hides, of course some food, things to climb on, and you're basically good to go. Keep in mind that they are not the most handleable of snakes, so they're better suited as a display animal. But yeah, overall these are very hardy and just beautiful, beautiful snakes. So if you are interested in one, make sure to do plenty of research. This is of course by no means a care guide, but yeah, they're awesome snakes. Probably one that I would like to keep at some time in the future, but we'll see. Number 5, Blue Tree Monitor. Now, for the first time ever on this channel, I will be bringing in a guest speaker. My guy, Mr. Will Exotic, is a monitor lizard specialist, and I know this is his favorite reptile, so I'm just gonna let him take it away.
So next on the list is one of my, if not one of everyone's favorite blue reptiles. We have Varanus macraei, the Blue Tree Monitor. How could you not love a bright blue 3 to 4 foot lizard that lives high in the treetops of one of the smallest, most remote islands in the world, that has a fully prehensile tail that it uses to grab tree branches and uses almost as a 5th limb, along with hands that it can use to grab prey out of hollows in logs or even baby birds out of nests, extremely highly intelligent, and let's not forget venomous. If it sounds like it's a creature from the movie Avatar, it's because it definitely looks like it could be. Blue tree monitors are a monitor lizard that come from the island of Batansa, which is an island in Indonesia. They're actually endangered in the wild due to things like deforestation and collection for the pet trade. They live on a diet of mostly insects such as grasshoppers, katydids, stick insects, and other insects you would find high in the trees, but they'll actually go raid bird nests as well, eating both the eggs and young fledglings of different bird species. Again, they have a fully prehensile tail that they use to be able to control and kind of balance themselves as they navigate along the treetops. And as you guys can see, their color is absolutely spectacular. They're not just blue hued, they're not just blue tinted, these guys are extremely blue, some of the deepest blues you'll actually find in nature. In captivity, they can be moderately challenging to care for. You're going to need a very, very large enclosure with something like an automated misting system. You're going to need to make sure they get the right amount of humidity and the right amount of heat. They're going to need a very hot basking spot. You don't want to feed them too many fatty prey items, so you want to stay away from the rodents, you want to stay away from the mice. You want want to feed them mostly a diet of insects, and you can supplement that with things like small birds such as chicks or quail eggs, and you can occasionally feed them things like fish as well. Just looking at the Blue Tree Monitor, how could you not absolutely fall in love with such a spectacular animal?
Thank you, Will, for that awesome segment, man. I couldn't agree with you more. Blue Tree Monitors are truly, truly spectacular animals. If you guys are into monitor lizards or just lizards and reptiles in general, make sure to check Will out on both Instagram and YouTube. I will be leaving his links down in the description below. He's extremely knowledgeable and just an overall good dude. So make sure y'all go over there and show him some love. Number 4, white-lipped vipers. Now, white-lipped vipers are typically bright green in color. However, this particular species, Trimerusurus insularis, Latin is hard, is bright blue in color. These arboreal vipers can be found throughout different islands in Indonesia. They typically inhabit bamboo forests. However, they have been known to creep into more populated areas such as the streets of Bali in search of food such as rodents. These vipers are of course venomous and a bite can be deadly. However, if you do receive medical treatment in time, then the bite should not be fatal. These guys do not have the most potent venom out there, but being bit by one of these guys would still suck, man. They have a hemotoxic venom, which basically just causes extreme swelling, pain, a lot of internal and external bleeding, and of course necrosis of the flesh, which basically means your tissue just starts dying. If you are considering getting one of these guys as a pet, then stop. These pit vipers make horrible pets for 99% of reptile keepers, myself included. Number 1, you can't just get one. These are venomous snakes and you do need a certain license to get one, which could take dozens of hours to obtain. Of course, it also costs money. You'll have people coming into your house basically to make sure that wherever the snake is, that it's secured. If you do get one, then in my opinion, the risk of getting bitten is just not worth it. When dealing with venomous snakes, it just takes a split second for your life to turn for the worst. If you are in the United States and you do get bitten, assuming you find a hospital that has anti-venom and they're able to save you, congratulations, you lived, but now you probably can't use one of your hands and you are now just tens of thousands of dollars in debt and your life is ruined just because you got bit by a snake. So in my opinion, it's just not worth it. But yeah, so basically these snakes are just much better off as creatures that we admire from afar instead of actually having it in our own homes. And that's perfectly fine. Like, there's a lot to admire about them. They're beautiful, beautiful creatures, and just because they don't make good pets doesn't take anything away from that at all. I'm perfectly fine just looking at pictures of these beautiful, beautiful snakes. Number 3, Grand Cayman blue iguanas. Now, this is actually a species that I had no idea even existed until I started doing the research for this video. But they're really pretty iguanas. They kind of look like rhino iguanas if they had their horns removed and then were just dipped in blue paint. This species is of course native to the Cayman Islands and are one of the largest land mammals on those islands. They typically average 4 to 5 feet in length, but have been known to reach up to 6 feet or more. Like most iguanas, they are primarily herbivores, but they will occasionally snack on things like insects, slugs, and other small invertebrates. Unfortunately, the blue iguana is endangered, the main reason being that they're being predated on by several invasive species, so they haven't had time to evolutionarily develop defenses against those species. Some of the animals that do predate on them include feral cats, wild dogs, snakes, mongooses, and pigs. These guys are readily available in the pet trade and actually make really great captives. Their care is really straightforward, like not much different than any other iguana. Their biggest drawback is of course their size. You're gonna need something huge, like a 12 by 6 by 6, in order to house them. So if it wasn't for just the enormous enclosure, I would definitely love to keep one. Another thing, they're kind of like tortoises in the sense that they can live a really long time. They can live for up to 60 years, so it's definitely a long-term commitment. But I don't know, I don't think anyone could ever get tired of looking at these beautiful iguanas. Like, they're just awesome. Number 2, poison dart frogs. Now, before anyone crucifies me over this, I know this is an amphibian and not a reptile, but amphibians are cool too, so deal with it. Poison dart frogs come in a ton of different colors, including red, green, yellows, and more. Of course, they also come in blue, like really, really blue. Poison dart frogs can be found in the rainforests in Central and South America, and they're also a pretty small species. Adults typically max out at around 1 to 2 inches. Poison dart frogs are, of course, poisonous. They're so poisonous, in fact, that many tribes in Colombia will dip their arrows in the toxins of these frogs to make them all the more lethal. Their poison comes from what they eat in the wild. In captivity, we actually primarily feed them fruit flies, so frogs that are captive bred actually are not poisonous at all and are completely harmless to humans. As pets, they are pretty easy to keep, which is great because, you know, these guys are freaking cool. But the biggest thing with them is just making sure that you give them enough humidity. They do like it pretty humid, like 80% plus. But other than that, their care is pretty straightforward. They are very active, and they are active during the day, and they do really well in a planted vivarium. So if you're looking for a great display piece for your reptile collection, poison dart frog could be the one for you. But yeah, overall, they're just really cool frogs, and my favorite ones are probably the blue. So if I do get poison dart frogs one day, you would probably see the blue ones, but who knows? They really do have a bunch of cool colors for them. Number 1, electric blue day gecko. This is one of the most beautiful species of lizards I have ever seen in my entire life, and I'm not even exaggerating. It's one of the most beautiful creatures on the planet, and I don't know, let's just take a second to admire it, because it's just insane how beautiful I think these creatures are. These guys are sexually dimorphic. The females are more of an olive green color, and they are pretty beautiful in their own right. However, it is of course the males that have stolen the show. They have that bright blue, almost turquoise coloration, and they just look spectacular. Their range is limited to only 3 square miles in the Kimbosa forest, which is located in Tanzania. Unfortunately, these guys are critically endangered, and that's primarily due to both habitat loss and the illegal smuggling of these geckos for the pet trade. These guys are of course highly sought after in the pet trade, and for good reason. They are pretty small, typically maxing out at around 3 inches, so they're not going to need a whole lot of room. Like dart frogs, they are both diurnal, active, and do well in a planted vivarium, so they make great display pets. And honestly, when you look like this, like, why wouldn't you want to display such a beautiful creature? Blue day geckos can be housed either solo, in pairs, or in groups with one male and several females. So if you're looking for a communal species, this could definitely be a good option for you. I would say these guys are more of an intermediate species to care for, primarily because they need both high humidity and high ventilation. The more ventilation you have, the more an enclosure tends to dry out. So it can be kind of a tough balancing act to get just right, but definitely worth it in my opinion. Of all the animals on this list, I can say with 100% certainty that you guys will see a blue day gecko in my collection. I'm obsessed with them. That's my list for the top 6 bluest reptiles. Let me know which one of these guys was your favorite. I would love to hear from you guys. If you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. But yeah guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy your reptiles.